Hello everyone. As I said in the last video, it took 2 more weeks to finish manually excavating the soil under the building. 3 months later, I finally finished digging. Now I can start filling it back in and everything looks a bit more interesting. For those who don't know, I'm going to build a house that will look like this, except instead of 100 square meters, it will be 50 square meters, not counting the attic space, which will probably be used in the future as well. The next step after excavating the soil is to install drainage for the building footprint drainage. Initially I planned for this, but it turned out during the soil excavation that the water table was very high, so I had to install drainage before the main drainage. I did the layout. I have the axes stretched out so I can set the wells at the right level. Because they will be in the blind area, this will be the corner of the blind area, and they need to be perfectly aligned with each other so it looks nice and can be poured properly. All of this is done here on purpose, with a little extra, because when the backfill is done, I'll trim it to level and the cover will be flush with the axis of the blind area. At first I just used stakes as a rough layout to get an idea, then I redid it with these things and set it up like this. Loops on both sides and a self-tapping screw so it's easy to move and adjust the sizes to be perfect. Many videos cover this topic, but they mostly just show a well, a pipe, some gravel, digging, laying it with maximum slope, naming it and calling it done. At what height, what kind of ditches, which pipe to use, I still have a ton of questions. I gathered bits and pieces from everywhere, saw every little detail, and in the end I used an orange SN8 pipe for the driveway. There are ready-made wells, and honestly it's best to buy a ready-made drainage well, because I got really tired of making holes in these pipes. Cutting them is actually easy, you can just use a regular wood saw and it cuts really easily, but drilling the holes was a real hassle for me. I couldn't find any info on whether all connections should be airtight, and as one acquaintance of mine used to say, if you think logically, the drainage pipe collects water and it should flow into the well, and then in the well it should flow further. Accordingly, the connection should be airtight and the well should have a bottom in the collective farm setup. But again, since we have access, if needed we can seal everything during the process. But basically, there are 2 layers of very thick film. The film doesn't rot, it's plastic, nothing should happen, and the plastic rope doesn't rot either. So we'll see if anything comes up. Since we have access we can redo it. Only granite gravel is used for drainage so that it maintains an excellent vibration coefficient throughout the entire service life of the house. There were some adventures with unloading the gravel. The guy driving the truck decided to hurry, didn't warn us that he was coming, and only called when he was already on site. Accordingly, I wasn't at the site, and he decided to unload without me, so here's what came out of it. We spent about an hour digging him out with shovels together, but it didn't help at all. In the end, we had to tow him out with a tractor. A driveway packed with sand, where a regular car can drive in without any problems, gets completely crushed by a truck loaded with 15 tons of gravel, just like a Ford would. I drove in here without any problems, I used a 110mm perforated drainage pipe already wrapped in geotextile, and the more measures we take to prevent silting, the better, and the pipe in geotextile helps with that. And here the geotextile is wrapped, and over there, under the building footprint, we have another layer of geotextile, which goes directly under the backfill to separate the natural soil from the fill soil. If, despite all this, the drainage still gets clogged, it's all easy and simple. That's what the manholes are for, to provide access. If something gets clogged, you can flush it with water and see where the water isn't flowing, find that branch and simply clear it with high water pressure. Ditches were dug at a slope for the drainage. I checked everything with a laser level. I even bought a laser level specifically for this, but when you really need cloudy weather, you can't see the laser level even from a meter away. You can barely see anything, just a faint red line. Indoors it's great, but outside you can't do anything without an electronic receiver. I had to wait until sunset. Fortunately it's not white nights yet, or I couldn't have waited. You see, I dug it up a little, I should add. And now, let's check. Every meter, is it tight or loose? A bit here, a lot there. Here, perfect. I think that's enough for today. I laid down the geotextile, rolled it out, and poured a small gravel base about 5 to 7 centimeters thick. I checked the slope again with a laser level. The slope is about 5 to 10 millimeters per meter. In my case, the difference is about 6 to 7 centimeters. Then I laid the pipe, covered it with gravel along the edges, and did it carefully, because when I dumped it from the wheelbarrow, the flow of gravel actually lifted the pipe in one spot. I had to remove it, straighten it out, and then carefully fill it in with a bucket, since the amount was small. In just a couple of hours, I filled it all in with a bucket and checked the slope of the pipe again. Before the final backfill, I checked everything 10 times. If you make a mistake, you could turn your building site's drainage system into an irrigation system. On the drawing everything looks like this, so everything should be clear. This is the highest point, and from here everything should slope down to the edges. So I have this highest point, and from it the slope goes this way and that way. So this well is lower than this one, and this well is lower than this one. This is the lowest point. Ideally, the drainage outlet should go into a drainage ditch. I have drainage ditches along the borders of my plot, but I measured it, and it turns out that the water level in the drainage ditch, taking the slope into account, will be higher than my lowest drainage point. So the pipe will be in the water and the outlet won't function. That's actually why I decided to dig a pond. As an experiment, I dug a small section to remove water from under the building footprint, to let it drain, and to see how all of this works in general. I had water standing here at the highest point. There was water in the middle points too, and eventually when I dug here, it started to drain right before my eyes. You could see how the water started to flow before there was any backfill. It was visible how the water was running, and I dug a small section here relatively deep so that it could hold more water, and I checked the slope. And it turned out that the pipe came out just as it should, and all the drainage will conveniently flow into the pond in the future. Also, the pond will later serve as a landscape design element. As for the cost, the drainage around the house, which is 50 square meters, cost about 25,000 rubles, most of which was spent on crushed stone. In total, I've already spent this much money. Most of it was spent on Penoplex, which is needed for the foundation. A lot went to tools because I didn't have any tools at all, so I'm buying absolutely all the tools. We unloaded a bit more material with tools, almost worth 50,000. Also, after the construction is finished, I'll post the full estimate and a complete list of tools I needed. I didn't have anything, so I'm guessing about 100,000 will be spent on tools. After I did the drainage, laid all the geotextile and spread the first 10 cubic meters of sand, I'll still need another 30 to 40 cubic meters. I'm almost done with the digging, just need to make a few more trenches like this. Here, I need to start from this point because there will be a water outlet. I need to install embedded parts for sewage, water supply, and electricity here. Because just in case there might be something in the future, like some outdoor lighting for example, so I don't have to drill holes in the walls later, I'll install the embedded part right away, making it easier to add an outlet or outdoor irrigation. There will be several embedded parts installed here, and most likely there will be another one over there. I also spent a lot of time moving the pile that was here over to here. I moved this here myself. I waited a week for the excavator, but then thought, why wait? I am the machine, so I did it myself. The wheelbarrow has been working for the third week after the upgrade, non-stop, handling both sand and gravel. I had to upgrade this part a bit more. I made clamps here because it broke off again. The wheels came off the rim, so I had to weld them too. Now with the improvements it stays together. I also realized how cool it is when there's no fence. It gives you a feeling of complete freedom and open space. And the plot, even if it's small, looks much bigger, because your view isn't blocked by anything since there's no fence anywhere on any side. Don't count these remnants as a fence, we need to remove them since there's no fence. It seems like further down the plot, I just put up some kind of small decorative fence to keep the dogs out. Or maybe some kind of green fence, I mean a plant-based one. I'll think about that after the house is done. Next on the plan is to finish the backfilling and start assembling the formwork and reinforcement frame for the foundation. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I've read everything and will reply to everyone. Goodbye.